I'm filming. Okay, like you can come in.
Can I be in your video?
I'm talking about taking notes for sure.
Can I just make it a guest appearance?
Sure, come sit with me. I'm talking about how oh my gosh, what is this? Oh, it's my charger.
This is your filming setup?
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
Come sit.
I don't know how to take notes. I take notes on my iPad. Wait, can I talk about that?
Yeah, I literally spent 5 minutes arguing why I think that it's better to take notes by hand.
Well, I am by hand. It's with the Apple
No,
Pencil.
I know.
And it even has like pressure sensitivity and like angle sensitivity.
Okay, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's not like the feel of like a pencil like rubbing against paper, but it's still like very similar, and the latency is super low too. So it's like, I don't know, I find it pretty
But
nice.
the thing is, when you take notes by hand, it's permanent.
Why are you writing code by hand? That gives me AIDS.
Look, I'm like, example. And I write all of it by hand.
Why would you write? You can write code on your computer and it's much faster.
But the thing is,
are you learning HTML for the first time?
yeah, we did all of it today. Literally, like, we learned all of HTML and all of CSS today. Anything to say about notes, Vicky?
I take notes on an iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil, and I think it's good because you can search stuff. Like it has like at least like OneNote has like a search function, so you can like search your handwriting. You
can search handwriting?
Yeah.
Like if you write the word color, you can search the word.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
You can do that. You can do.
I didn't know that.
The biggest thing that I always have hated about notes is I'm really like, just in terms of like the physical organizing on the page, that's like the biggest thing to me. So I always love typing my notes because then I end up like going back all the time and putting things in different places that makes sense in like the way I think about it in my head. So I on an iPad I can like circle an area and just move it around or resize it or whatever and like make space.
Yeah.
So when I'm and then you can also insert like text. You can put images in. You can draw graphs and stuff super easily because you can like do shapes, anything like that. So to me, it's a lot more efficient. And also, whenever you turn stuff in online, you can just go PDF submit instead of having to take pictures of everything.
I just take pictures of everything.
Yeah, I know you do. So there's a counter argument.
Okay, but if you take notes...
But both are perfectly valid. You should do
true.
whatever you think works best for you. And I also really liked having the iPad for reading, like, because then I don't have to print stuff. Like, you can highlight PDFs. You can sync with Google Drive. You can, like, I just, like, do all my stuff through Google Drive, and I can highlight the...
PDF?
I can highlight the PDF, like, just mark up the PDF or whatever, and it will automatically save it and save like that version of the PDF to Google Drive. So I can just instantly like view
online annotations.
Yeah, I can like instantly view like the marked up version of the PDF of like a book or whatever, like from my computer or anywhere else. I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff.
It's surprising how many people take notes online. Like, or like haven't so like in the beginning of school year, I was surprised by like how many people showed up with like an iPad Pro.
I figured I'm surprised by people who don't have them. Because I figured like everybody in MIT would.
Okay. What is any advice on like studying for tests and like using your notes for tests or like just like general like content? Did you yell?
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Your friends were like, go find him. And I was like, because I've been sitting on your chair waiting for you to walk by the room so I could throw it at you. But
well, you still.
I almost threw it at Kimmy. And then I was like, that's not right. So.
Well, now I have duct tape.
For what?
I'm gonna put my Texas flag on our ceiling.
Why?
Good question.
Okay, tips on taking or like okay, like how do you study for finals or like tests and like how do you like?
Well, I studied. I studied 0 minutes total for finals this year.
But like, if you were going to, or maybe even like habits you developed in high school, like just like that whole like topic. But like, didn't you take?
Yeah, let all the people know. At MIT, 1 on AP Latin. Dab, dab, dab. I like to also explain things to people because that's what I think that's what I think helps me
that
really.
That helps so much.
Right. So like if I can explain the topic to someone, then I actually like understand it. or like, you know, if the question's just about like some history fact or something like that, or, like history scenario or whatever, if I can just like talk through it to someone, then I know that like I know.
Well, yeah, I would tell it like a story.
Right.
For history.
So yeah, no, that's how we did stuff. Our history classes weren't that bad either. They weren't like, oh, you need to know 1,000,000 dates and like people or whatever.
Ours were. I would take notes, like especially like last semester. I would take notes. So I would take notes first in lecture, cause like I just like could not follow.
I just don't know what I'm writing down sometimes in that class.
Yeah, I would be writing and like not understanding at all what I'm writing. And so usually what would happen is I would like take one set of notes like lecture, and then I would take one set of notes, like I would just go through all the textbook sections that were assigned, and then sometimes like, or like I would take a whole set of notes on like the online courseware, or like the online video series. And so I would be like,
videos?
or like for like programming they did at least.
Oh.
Like Python.
Right. Not Pro 2 though.
No, I don't think so.
We just had a textbook.
Yeah. But so I would be like taking the same set of notes like multiple times, cause like that's like what I needed to like learn the content. Like especially like 042, like I never would have been able to like go through that class without the textbook. Otherwise, I probably would have done pretty badly. But yeah, so like you take multiple sets of notes on the same thing. At least I did. Like all through last semester, like every single class I probably took like I learned every single material at least like more than one way, cause like I had to get through like this semester. And then what I would do is like right before tests, I would compile and like condense all of the notes. Like I would retake the notes and like I would condense it all into like a couple of sheets, cause let's say for like Python, like there's like dictionaries that I learned about dictionaries like online, and then I learned about dictionaries like in class. Some of the content like you figure out is like isn't important, and then some of the content is like comes up twice. So then you put all of this stuff on dictionaries together. You make like a nice review note sheet, and then like that's how I'd study. And then when the final came around, I would only look at those note sheets, and it was A1. Any tips for like studying for finals, or like how do you study?
Like for finals, I like to just like throughout the year like make like review sheets so that during
that's what
during like the day before I don't have to cram it all in, so that I can just like look at my review sheets, and like since I rate them myself, then it'll remind me personally of like what we learned in class.
Wow.
So then I'll just do that, and then during the semester it's like a little more work, but then during finals it's a lot less stressful.
Dude, I tried so hard for that. Were you proud of me?
Yeah, it was good.
It was actually
good. It was good.
Effort. I'm kind of proud.
But anyways, so yeah, I usually take notes. I take the same notes like several times, and then I really like to like make final sheets or like condense all of it, like for every single unit. So like usually like around tests, I'll like condense all of the notes, make a review sheet that like is organized, has only the important information. I like to like isolate important equations, and things like that. And then that way, when the final comes around, I only have to look at those note sheets, and I don't feel stressed. And I just feel like everything is super manageable, because like when it comes to final seasons, and if you feel like you just have like a giant notebook to like have to get through, like that's so stressful, and like it would make final season so like miserable for me.
Also, review sheets are like aesthetic and they're kind of fun to look
at.
at.
Like I agree. No, yeah,
right?
Yeah. And it's a good way of reviewing content like throughout the year. So like you're reviewing it once when you're like making the review sheet, and then you're reviewing it again for the final. You're also just like cutting information, because it's like when you're like really far removed like in terms of time from like when you took the notes, it's hard to like remember like what's important and what's not. And so that's like where the review sheets are so important. And yeah, so like in terms of like studying for finals, like I always like, especially like for example like for math last semester, like every time we had a test, I would review all the, like before I even looked at the practice exam, before I looked at anything else, I would review all the notes. I would walk myself through all of it. Like as Trent said, like it's really good to like either explain it to yourself or someone else, and then like you review all the notes, you walk yourself through every example, and then I would like if I wanted to read a textbook or like anything, I would do all that, and then I would make that review sheet. And so for like math, I would isolate the important equations, and then I would go and like do the practice problems. But I feel like going through practice problems before you've studied is pretty useless, because the whole point of practice problems is to figure out what you don't know, and if you don't review beforehand, like you don't know so much that like it's not even helpful anymore.
Dude,
Okay.
to say that.
But anyways, take good notes. Hopefully these tips were important, and I'll catch you later. Bye.